Lastly, I'm going to talk about blurring the number plate on this car. So the difference here is that we're not going to use just a rough kind of an oval shape. We're going to need something a lot more detailed and exact to cover just the license plate. So I'm going to use a few different approaches here. I'm going to use the matte color solid, and I'm also going to use the distort tool. And other than that, it's pretty much the same as the previous um, videos. So what I'll do is I'll just isolate a piece of video that I'm going to work on. So I'll put a marker here, and let's just say I'm going to do this section of the video, and then you can finish that off then if you want. Okay. Right, so the first things first, I need to get some sort of a shape down onto the timeline that I can use to mask my license plate, just as I was masking the people's faces in the previous video. I just need a rectangular shape to begin with, so a perfect one in Final Cut Pro is matte and color. You don't need to worry about the color itself because you're not going to see this rectangle. It's going to be used as a mask. So I click and drag that down over the car video. Now all I can see here is the color because it fills the entire frame. So I'll load that up in the viewer, go to the motion and scale that down. Now I can go out that I can see my car. I can hold down shift, click and drag to turn that into more of a rectangular shape that's going to cover the license plate. Bring it down over the plate. Now it's already pretty much covering the license plate, but you'll see that the car is doing a lot of moving and the license plate is changing shape really as it does. Okay, so I'll bring it back to this point. And another thing that I can do here is to use the clip overlays bar here, or the keyframe graph, to bring down the opacity so that I can see the rectangle and I can see the license plate beneath it. I might even change the color of this just to make it a little bit easier to see again. Okay, so now it's pretty clear where the rectangle is. Now what I can do is I can get the distort tool just by hitting D, and I can bring in the corners of the rectangle so that they match the corners of the license plate. I can even bring it in just inside the license plate if I want. So what you can get here is you can get a nice shot, the license plate blurred out without it looking messy. Now this is the starting point if you want, so I'm kind of in the middle of my shot here, so I can work backwards and forwards, that doesn't matter. So I need to now keyframe all of the elements that are going to change over time. So again, I'll just double click on the color to make sure that that's loaded up in the viewer. Go to the motion tab. Now there are two things that are going to change about this. It's going to change position, and those points are going to need to be repositioned to match up with the license plate as I change the position. So I go to the distort drop down and keyframe all of those corner points. So each one of these relates to a corner, and you can see they're green now, which means that they're keyframed. And the center parameter is also going to need to be keyframed. So now when I move this around, it's going to create a motion path, and it's going to animate the rectangle each time I move it. So now what I can do is I can pull the playhead back to here, click and drag, hit D for distort, pull those in like that. Pull it further back. And at this point it might help to zoom in, so I'll bring it up to 400%. You could use a combination of scale and distort for this, I suppose. Might be slightly quicker. This way is doing just fine. I'll just bring it to the start of my section of video. Okay, so it goes a little bit off there, so I'll reposition it. It's a bit off there as well, so let's reposition that. And reposition it here and match up those points again. So I'll actually just do it up to this point here, just to save a little bit of time, so you're not watching me keyframe the rest of the day. And I'll fit that to window again. Now, so what I have is I have my shape pretty well matched up to my license plate. So from here on in, it's pretty much the same as what we were doing before. So I need to do a number of things. Now I had this layer locked so that I didn't accidentally move it. So I'm going to unlock that for the moment. Unlocking it, that's unlocking it. Now this is going to be my normal sharp layer if you want, or it's going to be not blurred, and I need to create a duplicate of this and put it above my color so that that will be masked and it will have a blur on it. So I'll hold down Alt till I see the little plus sign, click, hold down Shift and drag it up to the top. Now I can't see my color rectangle here because it's underneath my video layer, but when I set my video layer to composite mode, travel matte alpha, and switch off my bottom layer, you'll see just the license plate. So now I can apply my blur to the top layer, load it up in the viewer, and increase the amount of blur until you can't read the license plate. Switch back on the bottom layer, and now you have a good blur on the car's license plate.